Good morning, everyone. First of all, let me just thank Stu for his leadership. Let's give Stu a strong Always be a strong voice. And I also want to thank all of you who are here today and the many thousands who are not with us, but were with us and have been with us throughout this important endeavor. Over the last couple of years, as you know, living wage really got put on the front pages and was highlighted around the Kingsbridge Armory debate. And it was there that many of you, whether you from the RWDSU, from other labor unions, those men and women of clergy who are with us here today, activists, community leaders, employees, you stood for the Bronx, you stood with the Bronx, and we took it from there and we brought it to City Hall, we brought it to the City Council. Thanks to Councilman Oliver Copel. Let's give him a And ladies and gentlemen, it was there when a bold notion was brought up. A question: why not, if you are a developer, why not if you're already a multi-millionaire or a billionaire, that if you want charity from New Yorkers and our tax dollars, why not also be charitable? Why is it that we're not getting a good rate of return on our tax dollars?
Hello.
That was the question that was asked. And so today, with this report, today, with this information, we all stand here because we've been vindicated.
That's right.
We all stand here because we've been proven right and the doubters have been proven wrong.
Right.
And there were doubters on all sides.
That's right.
There were doubters on the right that said that this was going to be a job killer. Well, they were proven wrong. There were people who were saying that perhaps businesses will run away from New York and not want to work with the government and with the administration and would not want to accept subsidies. They were proven wrong.
Well,
there were people, Stuart, who said that we compromised too much. That it was a watered down bill. From the left, we were being attacked.
Wow.
Guess what? They were proven wrong.
Well,
the proof is in the pudding.
That's right.
The proof is in the data.
Hello.
Today, we are saying that from now on, when construction is being done, that we wanted to benefit the developer. But guess what? We also wanted to benefit their employees and New Yorkers. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we are proven right.
A little over 3 years ago, many of us here today stood on these very same steps to announce the launch of the Living Wage NYC campaign. The main goal of the campaign was to pass living wage legislation that would boost wages for jobs created on new economic development projects and commercial developments that receive taxpayer support. At a time of rising poverty and growing economic inequality, the campaign quickly became a movement for economic justice. In church pews and on the streets, civil rights leaders, faith leaders, working people, immigrants, and so many others across the city came together to echo the view that Dr. King preached in his final sermons. No working person should live in poverty. Not only did we pass the most far-reaching and robust living wage legislation in the country, we passed legislation that has already positively covered thousands of new jobs and many development projects. Indeed, the report which we are releasing today shows that more than 12,000 jobs of new projects are covered by the living wage legislation, which went into effect on September 26, 2012. The living wage law has been in effect for more than 9 months. Mayor Bloomberg sued to block the legislation, but his suit was thrown out of federal court. And we expect Court. The U.S. District Court ruled his suit has no bearing on the legislation. Our report examines the new economic development projects that have received $1 million or more in taxpayer assistance since the effective date of the living wage requirement of September of last year. $1 million is the level of taxpayer support that triggers the living wage requirement, which is currently set at $10.20 an hour with benefits, or $11.75 an hour without benefits. A key finding of the report is that the New York City Industrial Development Agency, the IDA, the agency directly responsible for assisting new economic development projects with taxpayer support, has been operating at full capacity, with no change at all in the number of applications for subsidies since the living wage legislation went into effect. Critics of the legislation in financial and business circles need to recognize that their doomsday scenarios about companies and developers. Excuse me.
It's all right.
Their doomsday scenarios about companies and developers fleeing have been refuted.
Well,
The sky has not fallen.
that's right.
Nothing was lost.
That's right.
In fact, plenty has been gained.
Come on.
Our business climate is as strong as ever, and we are all better off with a higher wage economy.
That's right.
Thousands,
Woo!
not hundreds
Come on.
of jobs
Yes.
will continue to be covered.
That's right.
That means skeptics who said this legislation would have little impact have also been proven
That's
wrong.
right. That's right.
This legislation has real teeth. It proves that outdated notions of economic development are no longer acceptable. We will no longer tolerate millions of taxpayer dollars being spent to make wealthy developers and companies even richer,
right.
while condemning
That's right.
countless
That's right.
New Yorkers
That's
to
right.
poverty.
Well,
This legislation will move us toward greater fairness and justice. Our public investments in economic development and job creation will now help lift more New Yorkers out of poverty, expand the middle class, and make our city a better place to live and work. The purpose of economic development must be creating and maintaining good jobs and building strong communities. That is why this living wage legislation was and continues to be so important.
amen.
Thank you.
This came out of the City Council because the members wanted to respond to an important need. We started, as the borough president said, in the Bronx with the Kingsbridge Armory fight. And when we fought for living wage at the Kingsbridge Armory, which the developer wouldn't give us, and so the council wouldn't support that project. And my colleagues, even those not from the Bronx, voted against that project because it wasn't a living wage project. So that it was the council that said no in that instance, collectively, to a government-supported project that didn't pay living wage. And we said then, and one of the arguments made was, why this project? Why don't we do it with all the projects? Even the mayor said that. So then we came up with the legislation. The borough president was a strong advocate that said, yes, all city-supported projects should end up with living wages and the people who work there. And my colleagues in the council supported it, and ultimately our speaker came around and supported it with the support of a majority of the members of the council and the support particularly of unions generally, but particularly Stu Applebaum and the RSDWU, and we passed the bill. It's a very important start, and the statistics you heard today indicate that it works and it doesn't discourage business. And I hope that before long, I would wish we would do it even before we leave. I'm leaving, many of us have to leave. But I hope that the next mayoral administration will pass a living wage bill that will apply to everyone who works in the not just the developer, but everyone, because anyone who does business in a government-supported project benefits from government support, and government should not be supporting enterprises that don't pay their workers enough to support a family. So I'm delighted that we have a success here, and I hope we'll only go further, and those of my colleagues who will stay in the council, I charge you to continue and get this law even more broadly.